And we're live.
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Obviously, Craig normally says that, but unfortunately, Craig has had to go off to work today. So it's me that's going to have to host this. So without further ado, this is the first time I've ever done this, so ever hosted. So please bear with me, and we'll see how we go. But today, I've got a good team with me, bit of experience with Kenny Ken. How you doing, Kenny?
Good. At the moment, I'm very unpopular because I said a few things that regarding our number one player. I try to be how would you say? I try to be objective, try to be fair, but sometimes our star players are a very emotive subject amongst our followers, regardless of how long he'll be there. I think he's going to be gone soon rather than later.
I'll tell you what we'll do is if we'll try and get into a little bit of that, because I've got a little bit of a snippet about what you said. It was fantastic, by the way, to see you back on Arsenal Fans TV, Kenny. So,
well, basically what it was is that the show's struggling, really is struggling. And I went out to Robbie and I said, look, do you want me to save your show, yes or no? And he went, a bit, like I said, we're not getting all the views. And, like I said, not... we're only struggling with views. So I said, well, I'll help you out. And just this once, anyway. Just this once. Just to give you a bit of a kick. See how we go, and then we'll take it from there. But if I can help your views, I'll do anything to help you, Robbie. You're a good guy. That's what I told him beforehand. Then I slagged off Sanchez.
Well done. I enjoyed that, And my other guest is one of my favourites, I have to say that, and that is, I'm going to say like Colin from Much Arsenal, but I don't know your second name, Colin. Are you going to reveal it on this show tonight?
It's in the name, man.
Much Arsenal. So it's Colin Arsenal then? Is that what it is then, yeah?
No. I wish.
Go on then. What is it? Colin Arse. That's what it is, isn't it?
No, bruv, no. Nah, it's much, bro.
Oh, that's quality. So, look, guys, thanks for coming on. So let's get on with it straight away. A little bit of well, we haven't had really much on the Arsenal front over the last week or so because it's been international week. But love and behold, the old injury hoodoo has struck us again with Mustafi going down. And does that put us in a little bit of a crisis? Because the pictures that I've seen of him, to be honest, it looks like he's going to be out for quite a while. So, without further ado, Colin, what's your thoughts about this and who is going to come in and replace him?
Well, that's a tricky one because Koscielny is he's been nursing an Achilles problem for some time. We don't know what's going on with Callum Chambers. That's something I would like to know, actually. What is the deal with Callum Chambers at this moment in time? Is he fit? Is he not? What's going on? Because none of us know on that front. And as far as the Mustafi thing is concerned, I heard that, well, from what I've read, it sounds like ligament damage. So you're looking at, a couple months, if that. I mean, to be honest, I would probably go with a back four now, with Mertesacker and Holden, with Bellerin and Kolasinac as the two fullbacks. Because right now, with the injuries we've got at the back, I don't see how we can play three at the back. But let's face it, we know he's gonna. So it's pointless even having that argument, isn't it?
Yeah, I still think that he's. If personally, I still think he can go with a back three, but I think losing Mustafi, is a big blow for us. If I'll be honest, because the jury's still out with me with Mustafi. If I'll be honest, but I thought against Chelsea was magnificent in that game. Kenny, you was at that game. Well, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I think in terms of Mustafi, he has struggled this season, and towards the end of last season he struggled a lot. But remember last season he came back from an injury. He wasn't the same player as when he first came. So it is a loss to a certain extent in terms of that he can play the right hand side of that back three. But in saying that, I think that we got adequate cover there. I think in terms of what Colin says, I fully respect for a back four, but I do think that Arsene is basically I'm going to go with a back five, and I think that's his system. And I think there's a lot of times when I hear people on Arsenal Fan TV, Gula Talk, and all these fan shows, and even in the professional pundits saying, why don't Arsenal go back to the back four for certain games? And I think that what it is that you have to have a continuity with that sort of formation. And I think that's, if you look at most teams in Europe, and especially in the Premiership, a lot of teams are playing with a back five. Because I think when you play with a back four, one of the biggest worries when you play with a back four is the fact that in midfield you could be a spare man down. That's why I'm still an advocate of the back five. In terms of players coming through like the Reece Nelsons and the Maitland-Niles, I think the message to them is, if you want to play for Arsenal, you've got to fit in that system, rather that system fit around you. I think that's modern football nowadays. That the modern player has to be adaptable. You may have a favourite position like right back, right wing, right midfield, left centre of defence, or maybe it could be a wing half or anything. We all have our favourite positions, but I think nowadays, especially with this Arsenal team under Arsene, if you do want to play in that team, you've got to fit into that system. I think that's the way to go. In terms of like replacements for Mustafi, well, one thing we've learnt this season, and obviously Colin as well, it's basically Monreal and two others. Monreal basically picks himself. So on that left-hand side of the back three, you've got Monreal, and then the others choose themselves. I sincerely believe that. I think that Nacho Monreal is Arsene's first name on the team sheet, above maybe Ozil and Sanchez, because I think he reads the game very well. In terms of that, obviously if Koscielny comes back fit, he'll play. Mertesacker obviously can play that position. Holding, I think he's feeling his way in the team. Obviously he's going to make a few mistakes, but I think Arsene will use him, and then there'll be another league. Colin.
Yeah, I look at it, and this is my take on it, is that if Koscielny's not fit as well, then we go with the same back three that played in the cup final, which would be Holding, Monreal with Mertesacker in the middle.
Well, definitely, because I think if you're talking about that, and we're playing Watford on Saturday, and like I said, basically against a team like Watford, what they're going to be doing, they're going to play against us two ways. The first way they're going to play against us is probably to oppress us from the front and then try and stop us from playing. Or in certain aspects of the game, they're going to sort of go in a retreat and be very pragmatic. So we're still going to need that just in case. Silva, who's a very tactical manager, just tries to surprise us. You know what I mean? He could go two up front, so we're still going to need those extra numbers in a back three. So, in respect to what you said about Mertesacker playing, that's a very good shout. He's got a lot of experience, and he's had a couple of games in the Europa League. So there's no reason why we can't persevere with Mertesacker whilst Koscielny and Monreal injured, and obviously Holding.
Colin, do you think that Arsene Wenger should nurse Koscielny through these few games now? Like, obviously play probably Saturday, leave him out, obviously, in the Europa League. Or does he say, right, well, this is Watford, we might be able to get away with it against Watford, nurse him through another extra week so that he's ready for the Everton game and the Man City game and the bigger games, without being disrespectful to those teams, the bigger games like the Man City and Spurs, which is coming up at the beginning of next month?
Yeah. For me, I wouldn't rush Koscielny back. I wouldn't. Like, that's... The Achilles problem is bad enough, but if you rush Koscielny back, that problem only gets worse. So I wouldn't rush him back. I understand what Kenny's saying in regards to like your back three and back five and all the rest of it. I just don't think that we have the personnel to pull off the back three. And the reasoning for that is I mean, our centre backs now are dropping like flies. So, like, the only logical back three that you could pick is Holden, Mertesacker, and Monreal. But after that, like, if one of them goes down, who do you put in like certain positions? Like, for example, if Monreal goes down, who do you put in there? If Mertesacker goes down, who gets put in there?
El Neni.
No.
I think what's happened is that is where Arsenal's going to go. I think one of the things that when you've got Arsenal play under Arsenal over the last 21 years, he's a big advocator of playing players out of position so they can actually learn the tactical side of the game. All our players who are asking the ball are playing out of position. People say that Morel's out of position. Be unlike Arsene to consider El Neni in that position if we do have any injuries to one of the players. I think if Arsene would probably have an heart attack if anything happened to Morel, because I think Morel's been his most consistent player in the last 2 years, although people wouldn't notice that because of obviously the form of Alexis Sanchez and obviously the high profile of Mesut Ozil. But you look at all the games that we play, and Lee, you're a student of the game, obviously you're a student of Italian and Spanish football, and Lee, you've played the game as well, and you're a student as well. You watch our games, and whenever like a player's out of position, and whenever there's a goal line clearance or last ditch tackle, who's making those last ditch tackles and who's making that goal line clearance?
I think Monreal's done particularly well in the back three. When we've gone to a back three, I thought he was struggling, if I'll be honest, in a back four. But since we've gone to a back three, I think he's come on leaps and bounds. And I think
don't you think the back four that he was in a back four, because I know there were certain seasons where obviously he was struggling in terms of like having to cover, do two people's jobs because he wasn't getting the support on the left-hand side. But in a back four, whenever like our centre halves were out of position, and that was something they're very good at doing anyway. He was always that player who used to have the know-how to actually go into centre half and cover. I think that's where I'm a massive fan of Monreal and actually share Arsene's high regard for the player. I don't really agree with him.
I do agree with that. I also think that, do you remember, I think a couple of seasons ago when we had a little bit of an injury crisis at centre half, funny enough, he went and played centre half for a few games and in a back four. And I think along with that bit of experience and the experience that he does from the left back position, he sort of moulded them both into his game. And I think he's done very, very well on the left-hand side. I don't think that's the problem. I do think there is a problem in the middle because of Mertesacker's pace. I still believe that that's a problem. And I feel that probably Arsene Wenger looked at it this season and thought that I'll use Mertesacker probably more in the Europa League games more than anything else. And it is a worry though, Colin. Do you think that Arsene Wenger probably should have gone and bought another central defender this season?
100% yes. 100%. And the first name that I can think of, Van Dijk from Southampton. Would have fit the bill.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I often watch it. I don't watch much Southampton games, but the ones that I do watch, the one player I'm always keeping a close eye on is Van Dijk. And every single time, he's not perfect. He's not, like, no player is perfect, but he's a player that keeps it simple. He knows what his job is and he just gets it done. Like, there's not many centre-backs in this current Arsenal squad that can do that. And I think he would have added a lot more. Well, he would have strengthened the team without doubt. Like, I'm not even arguing that point. Another name that I can think of, and I'm not even sure we would have gotten, Koulibaly from Napoli. Like, those two, right off the top of my head, would strengthen this side. But we just didn't. I don't know why we didn't get a centre back. We clearly needed one. Like, we were selling defenders in August, and like, we needed defender. We needed a centre back before we sold Gabriel. When we sold Gabriel, the first thought that went through my head was, this is another Vermaelen situation where we didn't replace him, and that's exactly what happened. So I don't know, lads. I hate it when he doesn't replace players. It does my nutting. It really does.
The thing
I don't blame.
Well, I was going to say, the thing with Gabriel, when Gabriel played in the back three, I thought we looked a lot better defender in the back three, and then we've gone and sold him. And my worry, Kenny, is that there's always, it's showing me a little bit of concern now, if I'll be honest, when they keep turning around and saying ongoing injury with Koscielny now. So if it's ongoing during the summer transfer window, they must have known that this problem could flare up again at any time. And did we really have enough cover if Koscielny was to go long-term injury? And that's my worry. And that's when, I look at it about a little bit of mismanagement from not just Arsene Wenger, but from the board as well, because I think somebody should have questioned Wenger about that and said to him, look, what happens if we've got this ongoing problem with Koscielny? What happens if he goes down injured and we lose Mustafi, which has happened now? I didn't think they sort of thought it through. Do you know what I mean? Like Arsenal Football Club taking a bit of a gamble, don't you think?
100%. I think what it is with Arsene over the years is that Arsene's never really been sorted out of defence over the years. He's been very lucky over the years to the extent that he's had the back five that he inherited from George Graham, and then he got Sol Campbell on a free. And apart from that, probably the only qualified success, apart from probably Koscielny, a centre half, has probably been maybe Vermaelen for a couple of seasons till he had his injuries, and like I said, his concentration wasn't up to scratch. And maybe there was a season when William Gallas was playing very well, playing good football, and so was Karachouri. But on the whole, Arsene's voyage in the market for a defender has been quite underwhelming. And I think that a lot of that is to do with the fact that Arsene's a gambler. He knows that in the majority of our games, home and away, that because there's a gap between maybe the top clubs and the other top four or top five now, that we're going to be in the intensity in games, and that we're going to dominate possession for a long time. And that has happened a lot of games, home and away. So in terms of his defenders, he's always gone for his DNA of a player has been sort of he tends to buy a lot of number 10s for me. Number 10s and maybe the odd striker in there, but everyone in his midfield was like a number 10. The reason why he buys a number 10 is because he wants to dominate possession, have his quick passing, like I said, attacking, maybe the last, maybe not so much the last third, but probably just that's the last third, and that's how he wants us to play football. So a defender's an afterthought. I'm going to throw a curveball in, and I suggest, and it's probably going to be very random, but obviously I'm a massive fan of Davis and Sanchez, and I'm very disappointed that Spurs went for him. But the other curveball is, I don't know why we didn't try Jerome Boateng of Bayern Munich. I know Boateng was at Man City, and I know, like I said, he had a very mixed season. Obviously, like I said, there was a situation where he wasn't suited to the game. But I think since he's got to Bayern Munich, and obviously his performances for the national side, German national side, they think, what more can the guy win? Rather like dipping in water in English football. Maybe try the bright lights of London. He I said, obviously his wages won't be a problem because obviously Bayern Munich, we could have definitely more than double his wages. And I just thought that he's a player that we could do because he's got the attributes to do well in this league. He's good on the ball, he's strong in the air, he clears his lines, strong in the tackle, he's very brave. But that is one that maybe I'm just being mischievous because I'm looking at turmoil at Bayern Munich with the sacking of Ancelotti, and even last season there was a few murmurs of dissatisfaction because they didn't get to the Champions League. final. And obviously, they went off the ball last season. I was thinking, you know what? Why not? But that's just speculation, really. But I'm just throwing a curveball in there. But that's a player we should be looking at. I think, anyway.
Yeah, well, if we could get somebody like that, it would be fantastic. Colin, just a little thing there that we was talking about there, and it just brings me on to my next point. When we brought in Sol Campbell, right? Tony Adams was still at the club. There was we still had the set, so he was obviously bringing in Sol Campbell to replace Tony Adams. And while we're talking about Tony Adams, just to say it's his birthday today, so wishing him an happy birthday. Yeah. And of course, Captain leader gets a little bit forgotten, but I have been reminded today it's also Charlie George's birthday, and he's a legend at Arsenal as well. So you won't remember him, Colin, but you know,
of course you will.
But definitely Kenny does, right? You
know. Well, basically, we're both from the same part of North London. We're both Holloway boys.
There you go.
Charlie's still out and about in around you. You want to see Charlie go up a street, you might see him in William Hill. You know, like I said, get his picture taken, and all the men introducing their daughters to Charlie and saying he's a legend, which he is. And you know, I think, you know, we've been blessed to have, you know, someone like Tony Adams involved in that club. I would say we're never going to see that like again.
No.
Not at Arsenal, and certainly not in English football nowadays. It's not going to happen. Players like John Terry, Gary Neville, Tony Adams, Gary Rabbit, won't see them again. Never again in English football. And it's sad, but true.
Yeah, that is. And that's unfortunately, that is the way that it's gone in football. Getting back to the central defensive thing, why did Arsene Wenger, do you think, when he signed Sol Campbell, it obviously was to look at that because I think Tony Adams was coming to the end. Why has he sort of changed his stance on everything? Like, you know, it's not just things like that. But again, is it because he's only got a 2-year contract, Colin? Do you think that could? I'm being a little bit mischievous now. Do you think that's something where he's not thinking, I don't have to think long term, where he did 10 years ago?
I have no idea. Like, I don't know what goes on in his head half the time. Like, I don't know, man. Like, he's changed his way. Like, during the first 10 years, like, his first, like, Petit and Vieira were, you know, his first sort of signings were like they had strength and power in the middle of the team, right? He goes away from that and just completely changes the formation altogether. Now, I know why we did that. Fabregas was the reason why we did that. I know that. However, I don't understand why you would not sign, you know, powerful, strong players to get us through those difficult periods. I just don't understand why he's gone away from that. Like, you look at the teams of like the past that we've had, Vieira, Campbell, Petit, all those teams had power through the middle. All of them. I look at this team now. Does it have power through the middle? No. Absolutely not. Yet he just looks at it and thinks, oh, you know what? That's fine. We can get through. We'll get through it. No problem. We'll do just fine. When do we ever do just fine with what we've got? But it's, I don't know, Lee. I really don't know.
No, it's a terrific point. It's a question that I would like to ask Arsene Wenger if I ever had the chance to talk to him and ask him why we don't. Because it's true what you're saying. It was because of the Fabregas thing, but it doesn't matter if you still go to that sort of way of playing. You still got to have big players at the back. You know what I mean? On defend properly. We seem to have gone away from, you know, like I think our most successful era, you know, has been obviously the Tony Adams era and then the Sol Campbell era. As them two central defenders dominating their area, if you like, you know, dominating centre forwards and things like that. And I still don't think that we've ever really got one of them. You know, we've got 6 central defenders and we haven't really got what you would turn around and say a Van Dijk, a powerful sort of one. I think that's why we're all crying out for someone like Van Dijk.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Because all these like title challenging teams have power through the team. You look at Chelsea under Mourinho, they had Matic next to Fabregas, right? With us, we had Flamini in the middle. Like, I've thought for years, right, that Arsenal could benefit from having a Matic type player. And that's another thing. Why did we not, make an effort to go after Matic? Chelsea were obviously going to sell him. Like, the proof of that is the fact that he's at United. So why did we not put in a cheeky bid for that?
Yeah, it's money, Doug, Colin, isn't it? I think what it is with the players is that Man United are prepared, because they have won the league since 2013, they are prepared to match the salaries that Chelsea and Man City are playing. I think that's where Man United are still going to be able to compete for the best players, even if they are missing out. And I think they will expect to accumulate. But in terms of your point, both your points, I think with you talk about the Tony Adams era and the Sol Campbell era, the common denominator is that in those teams there were game managers.
Yeah.
It's like Roy Evans used to always have this phrase, like he used to call John Barnes his manager on the field. I think what it was is that these were managers in the field. Like, for instance, they can change tactics within the game. They can judge the mood of the game. They can say, right, do we put our foot in or do we play football? How do you want it? How does the opposition want it? Like Standard Dice. Whenever he used to play the Arsenal sides under Sol Campbell, Tony Adams, Petit Vieira, Gilberto Silva, Edu, he always used to say, with that Arsenal side, it's how do you want it? You want to fight? We'll fight you. You want to play football? We'll play football. But we're better than you in all those aspects of the game. And I think what it is that since we've had Fabregas in the team, what we've been crying out for is not so much these big players. We've been crying out for tactics from the manager, instructions, and the game plan. Arsene Wenger is a very big believer in players managing themselves and finding their way around a football match, because he's been used to that, because he had players like Sol Campbell, Tony Adams, Martin Keown, Patrick Vieira. They were game managers. Tactically, they're on the ball. You know what I mean? Like in training, you look at Arsenal's training. We used to play with 10 against 11. Remember that? Because we used to always have a player sent off. Now you look at Arsenal. They're still playing a ticky-tacky football. But what it is that the worst thing that happened to Arsenal was Barcelona and Spain winning the World Cup. And the reason why I say that is because they showed the way that this kind of football that Arsene wants works. Spain, between 2008 and 2012, like I said, they played a lot of number 10s in midfield. Oh, it's when you didn't have the ball, they pressed you from the front and strangled your space. So what will happen is that you had to give them the ball back, and you never got it back. You saw Man City's performance against Chelsea. That was a classic Barcelona and Spain between 2008 and 2012. And I think what Arsene did, and like give him his shoes. I hated it, but I can see where he's coming from. They wanted that kind of situation where we could have been that, we could have replicated them. Unfortunately, we came up against teams like Man United and Chelsea, who were wreckers. Basically, wreckers. But basically, like, when we did have the ball, they were more than happy to sit back. And then what happened was that in the last third, they made sure that we didn't have any access into their box. And then whenever we made a mistake, they used to hit us with pace on a counter attack. And then what will happen? You had players like Didier Drogba, Cristiano Ronaldo. Boom, game over. We were chasing games, and I think that's what happened. I think that Arsene Wenger was very much influenced by what was going on at the new camp and with Spain. And I think since then, Spain were basically, and Barcelona have to change the way they play, because teams have been tactically been able to deal with that. Unfortunately, Arsene's a very stubborn man. So all this talk about getting someone like Van Dijk, it's not going to happen. The first thing Arsene's going to want is, what's Van Dijk like on the ball? Can he play from the back? Is you know what I mean? And can he start our attacks? He's not going to look at his other attributes. He's very good in the air. He's a leader of men. He can tackle. He clears his lines. hits he hits attackers like that. Arsenal ain't interesting, mate. You know it.
Yeah,
Lee knows it.
you're right.
I'm afraid that's true.
I do agree, but I will say I did see a slight change at the game against Chelsea. I thought, I personally think we should have won that game, but the difference between, say, our performance and Manchester City's performances, I felt that, you know, when they had the chance, they took it. You know, we hit the post. You know, if we'd have come away with a 1-0 win there, we would have been, I think, just as a commanding performance as Manchester City's. I know that Manchester City dominated it probably a little bit more than us on that day, but I felt that we was in control of the game. We managed that game really well, Kenny, you know, so
100%. I think we did, but I think what it was is that there were instances towards the end where we were hanging on, because I think what's happened is that when we were playing, because we were pressing them and giving them no space, it's very hard to do that for 90 minutes. So towards the end, I thought we ran out of steam, and then when Louise got sent off, we probably could have done him getting sent off 10 minutes before.
That would have been lovely, wouldn't it? That would
you
have
can
been
imagine it, the last 15 or 20 minutes, we've done 10 minutes, I thought we would have murdered them.
Definitely. Right, we're going to change the subject slightly now. And I watched last night Wales versus the Republic of Ireland game. And I have to say that Aaron Ramsey had a shocker. I'm going to say that, like, you know, he did have a shocker. But what I want to know, are we going to have a little bit of a World Cup hangover with this? Because Ramsey now is not going to the World Cup. Is going to be a little bit, I think, down after that game. And a little bit of teaser coming into it, because people have turned around and criticised Aaron Ramsey for that performance yesterday. Oh, like, you know, playing him in that number 10 role, he's no Ozil, blah, blah, blah. But when Ozil plays for Arsenal, doesn't play well, people turn around and say, oh, well, that's because he's not got the players around him. And they say, like, oh, well, you know, it's all down to Arsene Wenger not for bringing the players. But when Aaron Ramsey hasn't got no one around him, it's Aaron Ramsey's fault. And he's not as good. With this World Cup problem, I think, are we worried about it that he's gone out of the... not going to be at the World Cup and maybe be a little bit down and drop a form now? If so, will that open the door for, say, someone like Wiltshire? Colin, what's your thoughts on this?
I don't. To be honest, I don't really know. Like, yeah, he could like have a dip, but you know what? Arsenal fans dig out Aaron Ramsey enough as is. So, do you really want to give them more ammunition? I don't think you do. As far as the whole Ozil point, look, I'm not going to say that I've never criticised Aaron Ramsey, because I have, and it's been just due. However,
Colin, I've got the tapes to prove it.
However, with Mesut Ozil, right, people will say, oh, you know what, it's because the players aren't around him and all the rest of it. No, that is a bunch of bull, and I'll tell you why. Because when Mesut Ozil plays in these big games, right, what does he actually do? Nothing. Like, when Aaron Ramsey performs well, these people that will say, oh, he's this, he's that, he doesn't, you know, do anything. These are the same people that will praise Aaron Ramsey for a good performance, and then the next week after he has a bad performance, you know, slate him 9 ways to Sunday. But these people won't say a bad word about Mesut Ozil. Like, I just don't understand that at all. And on the point that, you know, Mesut Ozil loves the club and this and that, look, that was PR bull, all right? That was a PR team that did that. He wants to leave, yet for some reason Sanchez gets blasted and Mesut Ozil gets lauded as some like God's gift to football or whatever. Excuse me? He still wants to leave the club. So what's the difference between him and Sanchez? I don't know.
Yeah, I say you can argue about this all the time, and it is a great debate, you know, because there was a game on telly the other day showed between Barcelona and Real Madrid. It was like finished 2-2, and Mesut Ozil puts in a fantastic pass to Ronaldo for the equaliser, and you think, well, that's a big game, and he obviously he's got tremendous talent. We know, and I'll be honest, I was abroad watching the last two games on TV. You see it differently on TV to what you do at a game. I felt as even though we got the two results against Brighton and West Brom, and you know, I think if Ozil was playing in those games, we would have probably won by 4 or 5. I just think that he does open up teams a little bit better than, you know. I thought we was very we've done okay against those teams, but it wasn't really that X factor. And I know you said about Sanchez, we'll try and move on to that a bit later on, but I just feel that with Ozil, it does give us that little bit of creative nous, if you like.
No, potentially. It gives us that potentially, potentially. No doubt his ability. But the thing is that we don't see enough of that, especially in terms of the Premiership, especially away from home. Obviously, definitely against West Brom, you want that X factor when teams like West Brom and were very, very pragmatic. But you look at that game against West Brom, not only were West Brom very pragmatic, but when we lost possession, they attacked in numbers. They could have been like, gone in a level pegging with us. If they went in 2-1 or 3-1 up, no one would have argued. And when you have Mesut in that sort of situation, on the retreat, that's the problem with Mesut, is that Arsene Wenger seems to have given him no defensive responsibilities. And the problem with that is that if Mesut Ozil's not playing a position where he should be playing in the last third, we have a problem, because what we seem to find that when Santi Cazorla doesn't play, Mesut Ozil and recently Alexis Sanchez clog up the midfield. You were at the Stoke game. A lot of people, wrongly in my opinion, said Mesut Ozil had a good game. Yes, he was on the ball a lot, but he wasn't hurting the opposition because Stoke wouldn't let him. If you look at the situation, after Stoke scored, they were very pragmatic. They had 2 banks of 4, and what will happen? What they were refused to let us do was get in that last third. It wasn't going to happen. Obviously, there was a chance with Lacazette, but apart from that, in the second half, we got nothing. So what Mesut Ozil was doing is that he was picking the ball up, trying to create something, but the door kept on getting slammed shut. Right or wrongly. You were there.
I'll take that point a little bit, but I do believe in the game against Stoke that we missed a lot of chances in that game. Welbeck in particular.
No, in the first half, when the game was a bit open and we were on the centre seat and we were moved,
that's my point, Kenny. If those chances are taken, we're 2 or 3-0 up, and then you don't.
100%. But the problem is that Mesut Ozil's only effective when we pass the ball at pace and we have great movement. But recently, this season, we haven't been playing like that. In all the games we watched, I haven't seen a full game where the ball was moved quickly. No, it hasn't happened. In Leicester, we were moving the ball slowly, and that's why Leicester nearly picked our pockets, because the passing was too slow, the movement wasn't great. Players were getting caught in possession. We know what happened against Liverpool. The first half against Stoke, we were moving the ball very quickly. We were getting behind our back four because we had pace and move. In the second half, we tailed off. And I think that's the same thing that's been happening this season, is that when the ball was moving quickly enough, and Mesut Ozil was in his right position in the last third, then I think that's when he's at his best. But the way we've been playing, I still think we're very tentative in terms of our attacking play. And I think if you're going to play that way, move the ball quickly, then it's a waste of time being Ozil on the team, because, again, everything he's going to try is just going to get the door slammed in his face.
Right.
I think that's the other, what Arsenal need to look at, is to get us some movement a lot quicker up in the last third and passing a lot quicker and sharper.
Right.
And we haven't done that this season.
Okay, right. Listen, I'm going to ask you the question then. So obviously we're going to sell Mesut Ozil. Are you afraid would you prefer him to go abroad, or like say, would you be afraid if he goes to Man United or another English club? Colin, would you be afraid of that because it could come back and bite us, or do you feel that no, I'm not really that bothered. He's not been that great for us. Blah blah blah.
You know what? There's two Mesut Ozils. There's a Mesut Ozil that plays for us, who receives no instructions from the manager. And there's the Mesut Ozil that played for Real Madrid, and that was under Mourinho. If Mesut Ozil goes to Man United, odds are you'll see that same Mesut Ozil that was at Real Madrid, because Mourinho will be giving him instructions. That's where Arsene fails with Mesut Ozil. He doesn't give him in-game instructions. If he did that, then there's no doubt in my mind that Mesut Ozil would show his ability consistently. But the fact that he doesn't, that's what's annoying to most Arsenal fans. Ozil not being consistent and Arsene Wenger not giving him in-game instructions. Yet, when you see him play for Germany, he tracks back. Why? Because Joachim Löw is giving him instructions. It's not that difficult to understand. I mean, it's really not. If Mesut Ozil goes to Man United, will I be upset? Yes, because I know what's going to happen in regards to Mourinho and Ozil. He will get the best out of him. He's done it before, and odds are he'll do it again.
Kenny?
Well, the situation is, right, is that we've got ourselves in a situation where we have to think along business lines regarding both our players. The minute those players didn't sign new contracts in January, because we had this saga since January this year, as a business, we have to consider selling them. And if you want the right price, then you have to go to the highest bidder. And the reason why I'm saying this is that it's highly likely that we may not qualify for the Champions League per club. So if we don't win the Europa League, and we've got 2 seasons without Champions League football, we've lost this season, I think, about £50 million just for the group stages. And then probably if we got to the second round, maybe another 20 million. That's £70 million we're going to lose. If we don't get the Champions League next season, that's another 70 to 75 million pounds we're going to lose. We're talking 140 million pounds. Now, you could say, let's speculate to accumulate. Let's keep those 2 players, let them get into the Champions League, and let them go for free. Because what we're going to get our money back. But that's just no guarantee. Because what's happened now is that we've got a strong team. We've got strong teams now. Spurs are very strong. Man United are very strong under Mourinho. They're a Mourinho team. That's his DNA. That is Pep's DNA. We saw that at Chelsea. We've seen it all season. They're murdering teams who give them space. Even when teams go chromatic, Man City will murder you because you give them space. And when you have the ball, then the pressure will depart. Then you've got Chelsea. Very well drilled side under Conte. Everyone knows their jobs. Right? That's 4 teams, right? That are better than us. Even with Ozil and Sanchez, they're better than us. So, are you going to lose another £70 million? Times by 2 to make it £145 million. What would you do? Because we're a business, right? January, we're going to get the money for them. You have to consider selling to the highest bidder. Not because I think I want Man City and Man United to be stronger. It's because the club have put us in this position by divvying over Arsenal's contract. They have dithered over these 2 players. It was clear as the light as day that they weren't going to sign new contracts. Everyone at the club knew it. People were very had this Roy the Rovers type love for the players. both of the players, and thought, oh yeah, they're going to stay. Doesn't matter. Their remit is to win big trophies. That's not going to happen at Arsenal for a good few years now. So these are their careers we're talking about. And whether we like it or not, it doesn't matter whether we don't need the money or not. We're a business. And we're not going to be a very rich club if we keep on letting players like that go for free. So in answer to your question, Colin and Lee, and that's why I've been banging the drum. It's a shame. It ain't going to help us, but the health of our football club financially is more importantly than two players who don't want to be here. And that's why I will sell to the highest bidder.
So if he goes to Man United, you'll be happy. You'll not say happy, but you'd accept it.
Well, you've got to look at it from the financial position. 2 years without Champions League football for a club like Arsenal. Because you look at it, right? Have a big budget, and even if we try to offer players 2 moons, because we're not in the Champions League, they're going to go elsewhere. What they're going to do, remember what happened in Man United? When they were at the big time, players like Ramos were using Man United to get bigger contracts. How many players are doing that? That's what we're going to be. So all I'm saying is that we have to get this money back somehow. And another thing as well, regarding them, it's a footballing reasons as well. What's happening now is the club are preparing for life without Mesut Ozil and Sanchez. They are leaking stories as we speak about these players, and not very good. We're hearing stories about them not turning up to media duties, not turning up to charity functions. You know, Alexis Sanchez is causing problems in the dressing room, not turning up to training. Martin Keown is basically allowed to say what he likes about Ozil. No one's punishing him. No one's banishing him from the inexacts of the football club, are they? Remember Aaron Smith 11 years ago? What he said about remember the Battle of Man United when we basically after Van Nistelrooy missed the penalty, he's been banished from the inner sanctum. Martin Keown's not. The club, as we speak, are leaking are authorising adverse stories about these 2 players. So basically, what we have now is that we've got a problem in integrating these 2 in the dressing room. So even if they do play, we've got a dressing room problem. Not only do we have a financial problem, we've got to integrate in the dressing room. That's a fact. You see the body language of both the players, and you see what the club are doing. It's a mess. And no one comes good out of this. Arsene doesn't come good out of this, because if he had told everyone at the club his intentions last season, then he would be in a position to negotiate his contracts or negotiate his sales. But he left himself utterly naked because of his selfishness and his chess with the Arsenal fans and chess with the media. And the 2 players themselves. Bullshitters, as far as I'm concerned. Alexis Sanchez is a bullshitter. Said nothing all summer. He said, I'm going to wait for Arsene Wenger and then we'll make a decision. Whilst the Wenger side in May, you still haven't made a decision. You said you're going to concentrate on the Confederations Cup. When you came back from the Confederations Cup, all you said you wanted to do was play Champions League football. That's a fact. Never said you wanted to stay. On the 20th, before the Liverpool game, stories being leaked about, after the Liverpool game, stories being leaked about your attitude. Something seemed to have tickled Alexis Sanchez when we were losing to Liverpool. I don't know what he found very funny. I'd like to know what the joke was, because I don't think it was particularly funny when we were getting thrashed. What he's laughing at. He was part of that. He was the cause of the 2nd goal. So I don't know what's tickling his fancy. I don't find what you find ticklish. I mean, you want me to go on? I mean, he's been very unlucky with injuries this season, don't you think? In terms of, like, he's got flu in summer. Who gets flu in summer? Do you know anyone who gets flu in summer? And he has an abdominal injury. Last 2 seasons, you were basically trying to stop him from playing. No, you can't get him to play. And you've got Mesut Ozil, during the international week, not this one, but the previous international break, sent a nice gusty message, you know, asking us to be loyal to the club and everything. And yet this man hasn't signed a new contract. Yet he's got the audacity to trying to create a PR war between himself and our ex-players because they criticise his performance. Rightly so. He hasn't been playing well. So it's a mess. No one comes good at this league.
No, I agree, but going into the Watford game, you know, like this is my worry about, you know, Mesut Ozil. When we're going to bring him back, because obviously he's going to come back in. Who would you leave out for Ozil come Saturday if everybody's fit?
Well, if everyone's fit, you leave out Alexander Iwobi. You do that because Alexander Iwobi.
I think Iwobi's done well in the last couple of games.
Yeah, he isn't a star mate.
No.
No. What will happen is that the Arsenal fans are still blinded by the two superstars and demand his removal to fit in Ozil. Because a lot of Arsenal fans still believe that Ozil is the player that they saw at Real Madrid and the player that they see for Germany. But I don't realise that for Germany, Joachim Löw has a plan for him that Arsenal doesn't have for him. I could go as far as saying that if you want to see the best out of Lacazette, drop Sanchez. Is the player that can probably get us in the top four. If you look at all his rivals, Morata can't stop scoring, Kane can't stop scoring, Lukaku can't stop scoring. So basically, what we know is going to happen is that if you want to achieve your ambitions, you need your top strikers to be in lots of goals. Now, if you've got someone like Sanchez who slows down the play and doesn't link up with Lacazette and doesn't spot his runs.
You've got a good excuse, Colin, if I'll be honest, to leave Sanchez out against Watford because of he's been over in America and blah, blah, blah. That excuse could be used. Would you bring back Ozil and Sanchez for Watford game?
Do you know what? Certain players suit certain games, and do you know what? I'll never criticize Alexis. Never. Like I don't care. Like I'm not blinded by the fact that it's Alexis Sanchez. If he has a bad game, I'll say it, but I will never criticize him just because he works his socks off every time I see him. Just for that reason. But in regards to bringing him back, do you know what? I selfishly want to see Ozil, Sanchez, and Lacazette playing in the same team. But if I'm looking at it from a tactical side, Ozil might not suit the game against Watford. And if that's the case, then you have to make allowances. Alexis, do you know what? I'd start him. You can't not start him. I'm not blinded by the fact that it's Alexis Sanchez. I just think if he's fit, you start him.
But is he playing well, Colin? But is he playing well, Colin? Because my argument 2 weeks ago was that it wasn't personal. It was a general criticism of what I saw, and I still think that you got a player that is trying to play himself into form. Now, whenever you're out of form in a football match, you'll know this, Colin. You know this, Liz, more than anything else. The first thing you should do when you're out of form is go back to basics and keep it simple. But what a lot of players do is they try to overplay. They try to do too much. And the team suffers. You know what I mean? And they do that effectual team. I don't mean to, but that's what I've been seeing with Alexis this season. He is trying to replicate what he did last season. And by doing that, that does not benefit the team.
Kelly, I've got to have my say on this because I watched your interview last time and watched the two games, and I feel that Alexis Sanchez played a lot of those sort of games last season as well. There were times when he frustrates me, but he always works hard. I do feel that the sort of like, if I be the microscope, is being put on him because of he's not signed his contract. If he'd have done that sort of performance last season, I don't think too much would have been said. Everybody would have turned around.
Sometimes, straight to cut in, Lee.
Go on.
What I'm trying to say is that there has been adverse comments towards Sanchez. Like, he cooked his goose. Not from me. I'm a massive fan. But there has been fans who turn away from Alexis since what happened against Bournemouth.
Of course, and there always will be.
Yeah, but what's happened is that they didn't like what happened against Bournemouth, where, you know, he threw his gloves down and walked out of tunnel. Now, I ain't got a problem with that. But what some fans have been noticing now is that because they've turned away Alexis, and you know what I'm talking about anyway. I won't name him. He's a good friend of both of us. He's become good friends with both of us. But what he's saying is quite valid.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And what I will say about this, and this is where it's not a problem with him or whatever, is that the game against Bournemouth last season, I was there. It's a small, compact ground, and when Sanchez done what he'd done, there were a lot of people saying that, and I know a few people that have gone off Alexis Sanchez because of that petulance attitude. But the fact of the matter is, because it was Alexis Sanchez and he was doing what he was doing, people were willing to forgive, willing to brush it under the carpet, were willing to not talk about it, discuss it. I also think with those sort of performances, like on the last Sunday's game against Brighton, when he was a little bit, I think, overplayed a little bit, but there was still some magical stuff in that game that he'd done, the back heel and everything like that.
All right, I think what you're saying. I want to tell you what I saw, right? And the reason why I spoke out. There was a lot of people around me who felt the same way about our centre mate, and there was quite a glass. What you didn't see on TV, and what I noticed, is the way he was berating Iwobi when things didn't go his way, the way he was berating Lacazette and Ramsey. And he had this sort of, look what I've got to put up with.
Yeah, but Ken, are you seeing that because of what's gone on? Because I've seen that before.
No. But there was more. There was one instance which no one talks about where Ramsey's giving the ball and he's giving it back in interest. What sort of pass is that? Now, on TV, that looks like interesting skill, but that wasn't. I played the game, and I know that was like giving it back in interest. There's another one which I've never seen Alexis do. The ball's gone out of play. Rather than go back to get it back for a goal kick at the corner, he's doing an overhead kick to play at the crowd and saying, "What's going on here, mate? We're trying to play a game here. We're trying to, like I said, force through the opposition. What are you playing at?" And I think when I saw that, I think, nah, this ain't right, mate. This guy is playing to the galleries and playing for himself at the expense of the team. Now, he did that against West Brom quite a bit, but I bit my tongue. But I couldn't take no more when I saw what I saw against Brighton. People talk about his goal against Colin in the second half of in Europa League, and that was a fantastic goal. But in the first half, there was the same sort of performance that I was criticising.
Oh, I agree.
And I think, and that's it. No one seems to touch on that. My beef with Sanchez is his form. The guy's out of form, and when you're out of form and you're a great player, the thing that you shouldn't do, which you do, and it's very tempting to do, is try and play yourself into form. And by trying to play yourself into form, you're not keeping it simple. You're going to midfield, you're clogging up the midfield. So what's happened? The midfield becomes congested. The ball doesn't get quickly enough to Lacazette. The way Arsenal play and the way we hurt teams is when we move the ball quickly. Even when teams are pragmatic, when they've got men behind the ball. If you move the ball quickly and you have movement, 10 men behind the ball, guess what happens? They have to follow those runs. Because by moving that ball quickly and moving, you're taking those players out of position. The greatest classical game was the 1970 World Cup final. You had Brazil's attack against Italy's Catenaccio, not from Helena Herrera, where they played the men behind the ball and basically said, right, come and get past us. What did Brazil do? They moved the ball quickly, moved the men, and dragged Italy out of position. And that's how Arsenal play their best football, when they drag teams out of position. And if you slow the game down, like Alexis Sanchez is doing, then what will happen is that it becomes very easy for the opposition. And then what second worst thing Alexis will do is that when he doesn't have the ball and he loses possession, on the turnaround, we get hit on the counter. The second goal at Anfield was down to win.
I will say this, Key. I understand, and I do understand what you're saying, and there is a point in that. But I watch Ronaldo do exactly those sort of same things at Real Madrid. I'm going to ask Colin this. Colin, do you think that he's playing for himself, or Kenny puts up a very good argument that he does?
There's nothing wrong with that, but when you're out of form at the desperate team, there's a problem. And I think that he's doing it to try and get himself into form. Because he's out of form. That's why he's doing it. But that's the team.
Colin? It's a good argument. It's a good argument.
It's a good argument. I'm not going to say it's not a good argument because it is. But in regards to him playing for himself, I'm not sure he is. Like, I mean, I watched the game last on Sunday, and I don't think, from what I saw, it didn't look like that. But Kenny will know, will know better than me because I was watching on the TV and he was there at the game, so he would have seen things that I most certainly didn't. I don't know if he's out of form or not.
He's only scored one goal this season. He's only scored one goal this season by his son. And what's happened is that he's not playing to his strengths. He's playing way too deep. Why he's playing deep, I don't know.
Don't forget, Kenny, this year, last season he was playing up front.
Yeah, but even the season before that, and when he first came to the club, he was playing in that little pocket into the pocket in the last third. This season, he's playing further away from the penalty area. You're not effective like that. When you're playing like Sanchez, you're not going to hurt the opposition like that.
Okay. Listen, we've got to start wrapping it up now, so I'm going to just ask you one quick question here, Kenny. Yes or no, does Sanchez play against Watford? No. Yes or no?
No. Because I want to get the best out of Lacazette.
Oh, that's fair. Colin?
If you want to get the best out of Lacazette, Alexis Sanchez can't play.
Colin?
Sorry, but he can't play.
I'd start Alexis Lee, I really would. I can't not leave him out.
I'm with you on that. Right, we're just going to wrap it up now with a prediction for Watford. Quick question, couple of just two quick fire questions coming at you now. Wiltshire, does he play against Watford or not?
2 weeks away from fitness.
2 weeks away from fitness. Okay, I'll go along with that. I think he should play in the Europa League on Thursday night. But I would like to see him get some sort of minutes against Watford.
Right. Starting against Swansea when he's fully fit, when he's much fit. He's 2 weeks
good
away
point.
from fitness.
Good point. Like that one, Kenny. Colin?
I think it's too early for Jack myself. Like I don't get me wrong, he's contributed in every game he's played so far, but if you bring him into the fold for the league games now, you could just aggravate past injuries that he's had. So no, I wouldn't bring him back now.
Okay, I'll go. I'm going to go along with you guys on that. Right, Watford on Saturday. Let's just get a little bit of predictions. Being told by my man in the area that Coquelin and Welbeck could be available for this game. So that strengthens the squad in other areas.
Well, if Welbeck's available, I'll drop Sanchez and play Welbeck.
Okay.
Nothing. It's not. And no. Let me just get on. Sanchez is 10 times better than Welbeck. But I'm going for horses here.
Okay, I'm not just. I would leave Welbeck out of this one. Play him on Thursday and definitely be playing Welbeck at Everton. But that's for another time. So you have a little think about it, Kenny. A little stew there for you for the moment while we're going about that. Right? Colin, prediction for Watford.
Do you know what? I'm going positive for this one. I'm going 2-0 Arsenal.
2-0. I'm going to write this down. Okie dokie. So we're going positive there. Kenny, what are you going for? Please do not mention Sanchez.
If we move the ball quickly and play the way we played. Remember that game against Watford last season?
Yeah.
First half, we moved the ball really quickly. Our movement was
brilliant.
Fantastic.
First half.
Game away from them. if we play like that, we beat them comfortably, but they're playing well.
Yeah.
Remember, they beat the Emirates because we didn't move the ball quickly enough. But saying that, we play with pace, get the best out of Lacazette. We win that game 3-1.
3-1.
We all could see because we're Arsenal, but we'll win 3-1. Let's just say what's a good thing. I'm going to lose what left of my hair. I'm going to have an heart attack, but that's what Arsenal do to you. But I think we'll be 3-0 up in the first half, and then we'll be holding on to a 3-0 lead with Arsenal style.
My head says that we're going to draw this game 1-1, but my heart is saying that we're going to nick it 2-1. So I'm going to stick with the heart and go with that, and I'm going to go for 2-1. Guys, as we're going to wrap it up now, I'm going to say it's been fantastic. But we've done nearly just over an hour, and it's just gone like that. So it's brilliant stuff.
You're much friendly. You're much friends. You're much friends, and it's like chatting a pub.
Good debates there, like, you know what I mean. So as I say,
we're not going to agree on Sanchez, are we, guys?
We're not going to agree, but that's it's all about opinions, isn't it? And that's what it's all about, And
it's not personal. It's just
no. Listen. I can see both sides of the argument. I really can, But listen, I think we can all agree he's not going to be with us this time next season. He's not going to be an Arsenal player. I think we can agree with that. But why he's still an Arsenal player, he can still do a bit of damage for us. And
definitely. But what I'm going to say is that we have to contemplate life without both of those players, and there's no time like the present.
No, and I agree. I think we've got to start putting in plans now to bring in our replacements, i.e. in January. I expect to see Lamar at the club in January if Arsenal are serious about doing anything. We'll have to wait and see. But let's see what goes on Saturday. Big game for us, as we said. We've all gone for an Arsenal win, but I don't think it's going to be an easy game by any chalky imagination. But we shall see.
Watch out for Richarlison.
Yeah, well, they've got some good players. So,
and Decora, Decora? Watch out for him as well.
So we shall see. I'll be going to the game, 5:30 kickoff. So we'll.
I'll see you there. I'll be there as well.
Okay, Kenny. So I shall see you there.
I've got my brief in my pocket.
No problems at all. This look forward to that. Kenny, thanks for joining us today. It's been fantastic. Always a pleasure to talk to you, mate. And I will see you Saturday. Colin,
I just want to say thank you for having me, Colin. I'd love to be able to meet you one day. If not, I'm gonna have to come up to you in Scotland.
Yeah, you have to come down.
You know what, lad?
You have to come down one time, Colin.
Mate, you know what? I will be planning to come to the Emirates at some stage. But I mean, I don't know. You know what? Scotland let me down again this week. Not that I'm surprised by that, because we've got a history of bottling it. I'm not being funny, but I would much prefer to watch England play than watch Scotland bottle it again. And I'm not joking either.
Unfortunately, Colin, you ain't got much choice today in the World Cup because but definitely, you're definitely going to have to get your Scottish arse down to the Emirates at some stage, you know what I mean? So and have a drink with the boys. It's got to be done, yep.
Yeah, got to be done, man.
Okay, Colin, thanks for doing what you're doing today. If it weren't for Colin today, we wouldn't have a show. So it's much appreciated, Colin, for what you've done today. And thanks for coming on as ever. Love your views and keep them coming, yeah. So that's it, guys. So thanks for joining us tonight. Enjoy what you're doing up until the weekend, and let's hope that Arsenal get the win that we all crave for. Until the next time, up the Arsenal.
Up the Arsenal.